Hello, everyone. It is Jennifer Tarle from Tarle Speech.
Hello, everyone.
And let me turn off my phone here. I was just making sure that we were up and running. Some of you were here just a little bit ago. My internet was down, and so thankfully we're back up. So welcome. Today we are going to discuss the S and Z sounds in English. So right now what I'm doing is I am re-recording all of my classes that I have done in the past on individual sounds. I'm actually grouping them because a lot of the sounds are similar and just makes it a little bit easier to learn and to present to you. And so last week I did the TH sound, and that's posted on YouTube, on my podcast, and on all of my socials. And today we are going to be talking about the S and the Z sounds. Hi again, everyone. I'm so glad everyone is hanging in there. So I did get some feedback from the last class that you couldn't read all of my information. So I'm going to make myself small to try that this time, and make my presentation a little bit bigger to see if that's helpful. Okay. Just going to go through some of the big points, and then I will zoom back out to my full face so that if that helps you, you will be able to see my mouth a little bit more. And just a little more housekeeping. I'm going to go through the presentation, and then at the end, I am going to look in the chat and check all questions and respond at the end. So for the class today, we're going to talk about the sounds, how you spell them, how you say them, and then we will do some practice. This is actually a great class to download for a podcast to listen to in the car or on the train while you are commuting. And it's also great just to come back to on YouTube to listen to and to practice again and again. So you can see on the screen, if you're watching the video, that we are talking about the S and the Z sounds. I added the phonetic symbols for you. They're the same as the letters. And I also did just want to mention that we pronounce the letter S, S, S. It's that short E and then the S, and then we add the S, S. Z in American English is pronounced Z, E, Z. We don't say Z, and I don't know why. I get that question a lot. I'm not sure. But we say the letter S and the letter Z. The letter S makes the S sound. It's a very hissing type sound. The air is moving out of my mouth. You can kind of hear it just continuing and moving through my mouth. We also have the movement of the air for the Z sound. Zzz. That sound is slightly different because we do have the voicing for that sound. What is voicing? Let's talk about that first. If you put your hand on your throat and you say the S sound, your voice box is not vibrating. It is not moving. It's just kind of your throat is just hanging out there. The air is moving through your throat, but there's no constriction in there. There's no vibration. That is voiceless. Now, if you start moving your voice box, there's going to be some tension there. The voice box is vibrating. Zzz. You can hear it for that Z sound. If that sound is hard for you, let's say a vowel. A, E. You can feel that vibration in your throat. That is voicing. So the difference between these two sounds is actually voicing, and that's it. Your tongue and your lips and the airflow do exactly the same thing. Okay. So I'm going to put up the directions on how to say the S sound. And I'm just going to read through these quickly. And then I will remove this so that you can see my mouth. So your lips are going to be relaxed and open. Some of the mistakes that I see is that people will pucker their lips, and that is not going to help you make the correct sound. Or they will relax their lips a little too much, and it's just sort of like open and hanging out there. You want them to be relaxed, but slightly pulled back. You're not smiling. I kind of like think about it as a smirk. You can see my lips are just pulled back slightly. The tip of my tongue is either behind my top front teeth or pointing down. It is not touching. And the back of the tongue is engaged and tense. And the airflow is going to continue out of your mouth. Okay. And yes, I do call the larynx a voice box. You can call it either. I was using the non-technical term. So here is how you say the S sound and what it looks like. You can see my lips are slightly pulled back. The tip of my tongue is actually pointed slightly down, but the back of my tongue is pulled up. That is key if you're struggling with this sound. Think about the back of your tongue. We typically don't think about the back of our tongue, and that makes things a little bit difficult sometimes. But if you think about the back of your tongue being pulled up, that's going to help you, especially if you make a mistake and you say shh instead. So for the shh sound, that SH sound, my lips are rounded and the back of my tongue sort of pops down a little bit. We don't want that. We want the back of that tongue to be engaged. Tip of the tongue is either pointed down or behind the top front teeth. Lips are pulled back. Air keeps moving out. Your larynx or your voice box, it's off. So everyone give that a try. Okay. Now let's move on to the Z sound. You can see your lips, your tongue, the airflow does exactly the same thing. I'm actually going to remove my face there for those of you watching. The difference, voice box is on. All right. When your voice box or your larynx is on, sorry, that was my watch. When your voice box is vibrating and on, this causes some tension. That tension will be felt in your tongue. So for some people, that little bit of extra tension makes that Z sound really difficult. Okay. So again, say the S sound. You know how to do that. Most people can say the S sound. Now, turn your throat on. Make this vibrate. Some mistakes I hear with the Z sound is that some people will kind of start their voice and then they shut it off. So it'll sound like this. Zzz. And it's almost like there's air deflating from a balloon. We don't want that. You want to keep that voice box on and moving. I also hear some people touch their teeth by accident and say more of a D sound. And the reason that happens is because that tongue gets a little more tense and then people just kind of touch their teeth by accident. So the tongue stays away from the teeth. It does not touch, and that air just keeps moving out. Zzz, zzz, zzz. Okay. Let me just check the chat to make sure there is no question that relates to this. All right. Okay, let's go ahead and move on here. All right. Someone was asking about the spelling. I have some tips for you. So for the S sound, we can spell it many ways. I think that's one of the challenging things about English pronunciation. It's that spelling is not always helpful if your native language has a sound system where the sound actually matches the letter. That makes things so much easier. Spelling and pronunciation are really confusing a lot for my Spanish speakers. I hear this a lot from my Spanish speaking clients because in Spanish, the letter is the letter and it has the same sound every single time. So for the S sound, we can spell it S as in sit, SS as in less. We're not going to pronounce two S's. We're just going to say one, less. C as in cereal. Excuse me. SE as in mouse. We're not going to say that E. Peace, CE as in peace. And X as in fix. Okay, so we have sit, less, cereal, mouse, peace, science. Oh, I forgot that. The SC in science and the X in fix. Okay, so one more time. We have sit, less, cereal, mouse, peace, science, fix. Okay. Yes. Someone just asked, see, like in cereal. Yes, the word cereal that we eat and cereal, meaning in order and continuing, those words are pronounced exactly the same way, cereal and cereal. Okay. So now let's talk about this Z spelling. Z spelling gets very confusing. And one of the reasons it's so confusing is because we often spell the Z sound as with the letter S. So the letter Z, we can use that to write the Z sound that we're going to pronounce. And we hear that in zoo. We also can pronounce the letter S as a Z in visit. The X in exit and xylophone, two Z's like in buzz, and the SE in because. So we have zoo, visit, exit, xylophone, buzz, and because. I think I pronounced exit wrong. I said exit, it's exit. I do hear people say exit like I just did. So you can actually pronounce that word two different ways with the voiced G and Z or the voiceless K and S. For spelling, a few more tips on how to read that letter S as a Z sound. Oftentimes, when we have that SE at the end of the word, that is when we are going to say the Z. I do know that we can spell the S sound with the SE, but I would say a lot of times when we see these and those and because, those common words that we say a lot that end in SE, we're going to say a Z. Also in little teeny tiny words that are those function words, not content words. Function words are words that are more grammatical in nature. They don't really carry a visual in terms of meaning. That would be a word like is or as. Those words are going to end in a Z sound. We are also going to hear that Z sound often when it's spelled with the letter S, when the letter S is between two vowel sounds. So that's what occurred in visit. Now that you know what voicing is for a sound, every vowel is voiced. That's how we make the vowel sounds. We turn on the throat, the larynx, the voice box, and that makes the vowel sound, and our mouth shapes that sound. With the Z sound, which is a consonant sound, if we have the two vowels and your voice is already on for those vowels, oftentimes we just keep the voice on for that letter S. So that's in visit, music, cousin. We see this pattern a lot. Another pattern where we see the letter S pronounced as a Z is when you have a word that has a vowel and then an R sound after the S. In desert and dessert, we have that S and then that R. That R is always voiced. So you're going to keep that voice on and make that Z sound for those S letters that we're spelling those words with. And then also oftentimes you see it when there is a vowel, an S, and then an L. I'm sorry, it's escaping me right now, an example for that. But those are sort of like the big times that we're going to pronounce that letter S as a Z. I do have some lists of words that have a lot of irregular spelling. Letter S pronounces a Z sound that I found on the internet. So if you just Google, the letter S pronounced as Z, you should come up with a list of words that you can practice. So some common ones are these, those, his, has. Also, there is a rule, and I have a class for this. When an S is attached to a word as a suffix or an ending, which will change the word's grammar, make it plural, or make it agree, the verb agree with the subject. What we are going to do is, if the word ends in a voiceless sound, we're just going to add an S. That makes sense because we're just going to keep that voice off. We hear that in the word like bat, that ends in a voiceless sound. And then we are going to add another voiceless sound, the S, when we add that S on there, bats. Now, if we have the word bag, it ends in a voiced G sound, bag. Keep that voice on. Instead of saying an S, say that Z sound, bags, bags, bags. There is one exception to this. And actually, this is where spelling does help in English, is when a word ends in a sound that has a hissing quality, like wish, bus. We are going to add an is, and those words are spelled with EZ. So we'd say wishes, buses, and then we're just going to add that is on there and use that Z sound. So I hope that helps. I will actually write myself a note, and I will put in the description the S class that I think will help you for that. All right, let me check questions here. Someone says they don't hear the Z sound clearly. And because, okay. There is another, this is getting pretty technical. One thing that native speakers do to mark that voicing is they will make the vowel slightly longer. It's almost imperceptible, right? If you would ask a person who was born and raised in the US that's spoken English since they were born, they probably won't know this. But if you look at, if you listen, the vowel is slightly longer when I say the word his with that Z sound at the end. His, his, his. If I say the word hiss, that vowel sound sounds slightly shorter because my voice is turning off to get ready for that S. Okay, so I'm going to say his with a Z and then hiss with an S. Okay, his, hiss, his, hiss, his, hiss, hiss, hiss. What happens when we start speaking conversationally and the speech becomes less precise? Sometimes native speakers will turn off the voice before they're finished with the word because. I just did it there. It's very subtle. But what I do is I keep that vowel longer before it. Also, if people are just really using sort of casual speech, people won't even say because, they will just say cuz. And that's where you can really hear that Z, because people really keep that Z sound on for cuz. And sometimes you'll even see in text messages, people will spell it C-U-Z when they mean because. So I hope that helps. Thank you, Mohammed. That's so sweet of you to say. I've been sick this week. I don't know if you were all here on Monday. I feel like I'm looking much better since Monday. But I do have a little bit of a cough still. So fingers crossed that doesn't start back while I am talking. And hello to JH. All right. So I got a little sidetracked there, but it was all on topic. So I think these questions were really good. And that's why I'm really glad that we can be live for this class, because I can answer all of those questions and those things that just really, bother you, that you have on your brain. Yes, because is cause. Good. Okay, Jose, great. I'm glad that was helpful. All right. Let's get into some practice. I'm going to put the words up so you can see them all, and then I will take them away so you can see my mouth. Different people like different things. So this is the S sound in words. I want everyone just to listen. See, sink, say, sister, sailor. Misty, bouncing, sister. Bossy, mishap. Miss, house, bounce. Cats, fence. Okay. I'm going to read the words. They're on my other screens. I'm going to look back and forth. So we have see, sink, say, sister, sailor. Now I'm going to say a word and you repeat. See, sink, say, sister, sailor. Misty, bouncing, sister, bossy, mishap. Repeat after me. Misty, bouncing, sister, bossy, mishap. Miss, house, bounce, cats, fence. Miss, house, bounce, cats, fence. And let's go on to the Z sound. We have zip, zebra, zoo, zap, zipper, frozen, Thursday, busy, noisy, exist, these, lies, girls, rose, hers. So again, we have zip, zebra, zoo, zap, zipper, frozen, Thursday, busy, noisy, exist, these, lies, girls, rose, hers. Repeat after me. Zip, zebra, zoo, zap, zipper, frozen, Thursday, busy, noisy, exist. These, lies, girls, rose, hers. Any questions before I move on? Doesn't look like it. Okay. And now let's practice some sentences. The zoo named the new mouse Alice and the new zebra Zoe. The zoo named the new mouse Alice and the new zebra Zoe. Give it a try. The noisy neighbors are also nosy. I have a typo there. The noisy neighbors are also nosy. And the last one, Sally said Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday work for her visit to the city. Let's try those all one more time. The zoo named the new mouse Alice and the new zebra Zoe. The noisy neighbors are also nosy. Sally said Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday work for her visit to the city. Okay, I hope everyone is doing well. We're getting to the end here. We have tongue twisters, and then I'm going to take questions again. All right, so here are the tongue twisters for today. I have two. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. And let's give that one more try. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. My tip on these tongue twisters are to just really go slowly. Going slowly and taking your time, I think, is highly underrated. A lot of my students don't like to do it, but going slowly is really, really helpful. Not too slowly, but I should say slower. All right, and the next one. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he? And one more time. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair. Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't fuzzy, was he? Okay. So glorious. We are finished. The internet held. We are still live. So I'm really happy about that. I'm going to open it up to questions. While I'm opening it up to questions, I'm going to give you a few quick updates. After the class, the video takes a little while to update onto the website and onto YouTube. Once it's finished processing, I will upload it to StreamYard so you can get it wherever you get your podcasts. Yes, Jose, smash that like button, as the kids say. I think that's so funny. I always feel funny asking people for likes and shares, but it really, really does help giving me those likes and those shares. And if you are looking for practice on these sounds, I do have a class on Udemy on the S and the Z sound at the end of words. I also have a few other videos on YouTube on the S and Z sounds and a playlist on both of those sounds. You can go to my YouTube homepage to see all of those. I have products that are eBooks. I sell them on different third-party locations like Teachers Pay Teachers, which isn't just for teachers. Anybody can buy stuff there on Google Play, Google Books, iTunes, the Apple Store, Kobo, and on, I'm trying to think what else, Teespring. So all of my books are are there and you can download them for there. They have PDFs with embedded audio so you can listen to me and then practice along. It's also great to just go back and review my old YouTube videos. I have literally thousands of free lessons. So even if you can't afford to take a class, it's totally fine. Even if you can't afford to buy a book, totally fine. I love that I can offer this free service for everyone with just all of my free classes and lessons on YouTube. It doesn't look like we have any questions. I'm going to go ahead and sign off. Thank you, thank you, thank you for all of your support. I just love this community. I love how supportive everyone is and how positive everyone is, and that everyone is just really trying to help each other and lift each other up to be just better communicators. And it's not about perfection. It's about just using the language and being as clear as you possibly can so you avoid frustration and you can shine through. So thank you again. As Jose said, smash that like button. Please tell your friends about us. And thank you so much. And I hope to see you all on Monday for another class. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great day.